could not say no. Because if I had said no, I would have been disrespecting my roots. The mirror is the foundation that propelled me to where I am today. And I will be eternally grateful to you, Mr. Smith, and to the people that made the mirror. When I went there, I saw you, Mr. Williams, Mr. Brian, Mr. Barton. And I was also about 20, 21 years old. And you're the youngest one in the family. And you took me under your wings and you guided me. And I really, really appreciate it. So tonight, it's not just about you being celebrating 50 years in journalism, or the mirrors celebrating 45 years. This is 50 years of excellence, 45 years of distinguished service. And I am not going to say that you are going to live another 50 years. Or the mirror, I know the mirror is going to be more than 45 because the mirror has become a part of Western Jamaica. It's an institution in Western Jamaica. Sometimes we have fun talking about the mirror. The mirror is the only newspaper you see. A person pick up the mirror and the first place they go is to the obvious page. Because that is Montego Bay. Everybody see that obvious page is where somebody from Montego Bay, so we have Stephen up to date. So, Mr. Smith and the Western Mirror, congratulations. Thank you for what you have done for me and my generation of journalists. And I am sure that as long as you are around, you'll be ready to share your knowledge. It was a pleasure being at the mirror, and the mirror was, like I said, was what gave me my everything life. And I'm eternally grateful to the mirror. Thank you very much.
50 years in the field of media and communications, that is a huge deal. And it tells me that if the Press Association is celebrating 82 years, and we have someone who's celebrating 50 years in the fraternity, there is no question about the kind of legacy that you have built, not just here in the West, but across this country. So many members of the Press Association can credit their careers to you. And having been a part of the fraternity for almost 10 years now, so no close measure to 50 years, but I can say every interaction with Governor Lloyd has been exceptional. He has created space for so many young people in the industry to feel welcome, to feel open to having conversation, and it is always a pleasure to serve with you, as he also is currently a director of the Press Association. But let me say on behalf of the PAJ, we today had our annual general meeting in Kingston, but it was important for us to be represented today because of the man Sir Lloyd B. Smith is. Thank you so much for your contribution. Your golden year is significant, and we continue to be quite humbled by your contribution to the fraternity. We thank you for your continued service to not just the PAJ, but to the media fraternity here in Jamaica, and I dare say in the region. Because if you are to do a study perhaps on how many people have passed through the hands of Sir Smith, it perhaps is countless those who are not just serving here in Jamaica, but across the region. So keep going, keep doing what you're doing. I was going to say cheers to 50 more years, but I want to say cheers to more relaxation, cheers to more excellence, cheers to more contribution to greatness, because your legacy is that of excellence, continued service, and it will never be erased from the history of this island home, Jamaica. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much for that. So now we move to some entertainment.
Very start. So when we began the Observer, we had to have a voice from the West. Obviously it had to be Lloyd B. So Desmond Ali, who was the editor at the time, called him up. Lloyd B, of course, but Lloyd B, everybody was Lloyd B. So Lloyd B, of course, came on, and it has been an absolute pleasure, Lloyd B. In the beginning, it was called Life in the West as seen by Lloyd B. Smith, yes? And he gave the rest of the country a look at what it was like to live in the Republic. And we know he is the governor. Over the years, it has progressed. It's now point counterpoint. It comes out every Friday. And even though the focus is not on the West per se, not all the columns, it is always insightful, very well written. I always read them. Thank you, Lloyd B. So today I'm here representing Desmond Allen, Bernard Davidson, who by the way said you're a pleasure to work with. Right? He said you have no ego, no attitude. Your columns are on time and they're well done. So I'm here to say on behalf of the Observer, thank you, Lloyd B. Thank you for being an excellent columnist for us. Thank you for representing Montego Bay. And we say congratulations on your 50th anniversary. Desmond said to tell you, welcome to the 50th club. Thank you so much.
50 more years, you said, Governor?
You'll have to be waiting to see if I can afford it, right? Affectionately called Lloyd B. And more affectionately called the Governor. As you celebrate 50 years of excellence, journalism, and community service. 45 of those years as founder and CEO of the Western Mirror. And for me, we should all stand, give Lloyd B a round of applause. Please, everybody stand as we celebrate this. Thank you, you may be seated. Sir Lloyd, this milestone is not only a testament of your longevity, but your unwavering commitment to truth, integrity, to the people of Western Jamaica, and may I say Jamaica overall. I've been in Kingston and see people reading the Mirror in Kingston. So it's not just a Western paper anymore. We can truly say that the Western Mirror has been more than just a newspaper. It has been the voice of the people of Western Jamaica, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, Hanover, and St. Elizabeth. Looking and reading through the pages of the Western Mirror has chronicled our stories, celebrated our achievements, confronted our challenges, and kept communities connected, informed, and inspired. As an award-winning publication, your commitment to balanced reporting and meaningful storytelling has established a high standard in regional journalism. This newspaper that you lead has served as a bridge between government and citizens, institutions and individuals, emphasizing issues that matters most to the everyday Jamaican. Thank you, sir. It will reminisce if I did not mention your support staff at the Mirror and the Beacon before, without whom this celebration might not have been possible. But they stood with you, by your side, through the challenging times. And I need not go back into history, because you're doing 50 years in journalism, and I've completed 50 years in pastoral ministry. And if I add evangelism, I'm going about 55. So as a young man, I followed you way, way back before I ever came 37 years ago to reside in the city of Montego Bay and to adopt St. James as my home. On behalf of the people once again of St. James and Western Jamaica, thank you for your commitment, not just to good journalism, but to nation building. You're an icon. Your name will always be etched into history for your work, your commitment, and your dedication and love to your country. What a legacy you're leaving for your daughter and the rest of the family. May God bless you.
Thank you very much, Costas. Lloyd Barnes.
Club, management team, and at heart, he is for the development of the city. At heart, he is for the development of youth. And in our usual vernacular, enough youth like this in us. Enough youth started at the Mirror, ended up at the Gleaner, GIS, Observer, all over in Boston of youth. And we must give him a round of applause for that. One of his most influential pursuits has been the Western Mirror. And I know that that paper is widely regarded as the community paper. It is the people's paper. Every street corner, every lane. If you want to know what is happening in Montego Bay and Western Jamaica, you have to get a copy of the Mirror. And many of our people from these communities, they actually earn a living by selling the Mirror, by contributing to the Mirror. So through him, many Montegonians have been empowered. And we thank you for what you have done. We thank you for the community anchor that you have been. And I would always say we look forward to it. I know that you're in the cruise control mode now and not beating up on yourself. You just want to live, you just want to be happy and spend time with your family. So at this point, I just want to say thank you for all that you have done. 50 solid years in media and 45 solid years from the Western Mirror. Thank you very much, Lloyd Smith. Governor, God bless you.
Most months. We haven't done it in about 6 months, right?
Don't blame me.
But we do have lunch every month. We try a new restaurant. We are besties. And we're proud of that, right?
Absolutely.
All right, good. So we get that out of the way in case anybody thinks that it's anything other than the fact that we're business. All right, good.
No comment.
All right, let's get to it. Let us just get to it. Governor, 50 years in media. That's a lifetime of storytelling. When you look back, what was it that first drew you into journalism?
Well, from a very early age, I found myself attracted towards writing. And when I was at Cornell College, I submitted poems to the Cornellian magazine. But interestingly, I had developed what I would call a penchant. Can I use that word here?
What's that?
Love can interpret it. It's a special love for, or affinity to something. But the fact is that you will never believe it. But my first attempt in writing was love letters. And in those days, Cornwall boys had 2 sets of girls that they had at their behest. Mount Alvernia and Mowbray High. And in those days, there was no social media, and there was no sort of school face mentality where you just look at a girl and say, hey, me like you know what I say. You know, in those days we had to do it the Shakespearean way. And so I was actually paid to write love letters. Yes. Kisses Post Office, Lovers Lane, Kisses Post Office. And I did a very good job of it, you know. Yes, and I got paid. So I said, wait, I can write. And then I won an essay competition, a national essay competition it was. And one of the prizes, in fact the main prize was a stay at the Half Moon Hotel. Now imagine a little country boy like me staying at the Half Moon Hotel in those days. It was quite something. When I remember when I sat at the dining table, luckily there was a waiter there who saw my plight, and so he would nudge me and say, don't worry yourself, I will show you which knife and fork to use. So those two, you know, activities strongly suggested, and then I won a medal in the Festival of Arts competition for a poem that I'd written, and I said, but wait, we can write. So that's where it all started.
So tell me now, the name Governor, who gave that name to you? And what does it mean to you today?
Julia is here, where is she? Stand up, Julia.
she's in the middle.
Yes. Julia was a broadcaster. Was it Radio Ways or Up 102? Up 102. And I was doing a calling program called Grapevine, right? And there was, I don't know if some of you would have recalled, there was this guy named Prince. He was on every talk show, from Martin to Barbara to everybody. You go on and it was Prince. And it was he, on one of the programs, if Julia can remind me, he was saying, you know, we have to call you because, you know, say you're the governor, no, you're the governor for Montego Bay. So we have to call you to tell you what's going on and what you can do for us. And it was out of that the name sort of gradually emerged, because after that, everybody would say, boy, I have to talk to the governor. And it just ballooned.
And then Lieutenant Stitch's song came out to the governor, and you know, always played.
Right. Yes.
Thank you.
And the rest is history.
Wow. You founded the Western Europe at a time when regional voices were rarely heard nationally. What motivated you to start a community paper in 1980?
Well, first of all, let me say it was a combination of efforts. I had very good partners. Miriam is here, one of them, Miriam Williams. And give her a round of applause. And there is Philip. And let me tell you something. I should be saying certain things here now because I may have to get a security guard to take me back home. But interestingly, I was, and I'm going to tell this story maybe for the second time. I came back to Montego Bay as the regional manager for Teachers Book Center, which was an affiliate of the Jamaica Teachers Association. But while I was there, I had to pursue my journalistic interest, so I started a column in the Beacon Godfrey under the pseudonym The Republican. And that used to upset a lot of people. Did it upset you, Godfrey? What about you, Winston? But it really wake up a lot of us, I must tell you that. And so my directors in Kingston got wind of the fact somebody got speed and tell them, say, you know, that your regional manager, they're not doing any work, you know. All you have to do is write these outrageous, controversial articles in the Beacon. So one day I was in my office and all of a sudden I see about 3 directors coming and fly down from Trans-Jamaica. And they fired me because they said that I wasn't doing any work. I was spending my time writing the Republican column. So all of a sudden I was out of a job, but I was back in Montego Bay, my hometown, because they were the ones who brought me back, incidentally. So one night I was at a cocktail party. Carol O'Reilly was the director that was left, because Mr. Jones, who owned the paper, had just left, abandoned the workers and everybody, and I was one of the workers. Because at that time it was the 5 flights per day to Miami, sort of thing, you know, in the 80s. And so a lot of the expatriates decided for they're leaving, and he was one of them. And I was there at the cocktail party. Miss O'Reilly took a liking to me for whatever reason, I don't know. So we were there dancing, and then she looked me in the eyes. Now, I thought she was going to make a proposition of sorts. But instead she said to me, Lloyd, how would you like to become the editor of the Beacon? I said, but why would you want to? She said, look, your column, the Republic, since you've been writing in the Beacon, the paper starts selling better and faster. So maybe you are the person we need to have as the editor. Now, the editor at the time was a good friend of mine by one Balfour. He never told like the idea. Anyway, the long and short of it, I took the job. And I'll never forget the first day I was on the job. Now remember that the Beacon was on the verge of collapsing. I was in this little room, boardroom. When you look through the floor, you see the dirt outside. And every now and again, a few rats say hi to me and move on. When I typed, the old typewriter that had mail, you know, you remember the Smith Corona typewriter? And then there's that 2-finger music. The entire little woman in a shape. You know? But what led to the Mirror was that, first of all, there was a press that Mr. Jones had left, a very good press, but he owed a lot of money to the Jamaica Development Bank, and he just left, so the bank came in and seized the press and sell it. So we were continuing to print the Beacon, but Speedy Prince was the one who we had to ask to print. It was very expensive. So one day, Speedy called me. Remember Lance Thompson at Speedy Print, and Mr. Barton, our former director, shareholder, was left us unfortunately. And he said to us, I have a little old press, you know, that I'm not using. Why you guys don't truck up and buy the press? We had no choice but to try and do that because there was no other way out. Now, by this time, I was in a play at Fairfield Theatre, Dial M for Murder. I was the murderer's husband. Dunbar McFarlane was the detective. Is he still there?
Where's Dunbar? I think Dunbar is still with us. He's still there? Yes. All right, good.
So, in between rehearsal, Dunbar said, "What was happening?" And he said, "Boy, we're having a problem, you know. I really need some money to. It was $30,000 in those days that
Enough money.
Speedy had that plenty money in those days. And we didn't have no money, we didn't have no collateral. So, while we were rehearsing in between, Dunbar said, "Come and talk to me, man. Come and talk to me." So, of course, I eventually went and spoke with Dunbar, and the rest is history. He went against the grain. But some of the directors of the band never do like that. Right? Because I remember before he came on the scene, I went to a certain gentleman whose name I shall not call at Scotiabank. And when I came, look, I need to get some money to buy the press because we want to start our own newspaper and continue. And he leaned back in his chair and said, "You, Lloyd Smith, want to start a newspaper?" Never forgot it. Today I can say, ha ha ha.
Listen to me. Listen, Lloyd. You know it's only 15 minutes there, Gary.
That's why I stopped now. Incidentally, I'm being forced. Everybody keeps saying to me, "Lloyd, you need to write a book."
Thank you.
I'm going to write.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Before 4 decades. Talk to me about that.
The biggest challenge is that we have to journalism, it's also a business. We have to pay staff, and we have to buy paper, ink, and so on and so forth. And the challenge is that when you upset anybody, when you upset somebody like a Godfrey guy or a Winston guy,
you know, I bought but the first copy that you printed at the back of my university.
You did. You are redeemed. So the major challenge was how to, for me, because I've always been a very controversial journalist, and so the question was, how do I manage to use my position as the person in charge? First I was chairman and then I became general manager and so on and so forth. How do I manage two different posts? Because if you know anything about media, when you manage the media entity, it's totally different from when you're an editor. The two don't go along together because the editor is out to get the news at all costs. But the manager is looking at how best to survive in terms of getting the ads and getting people to buy the paper. So that was and has always been my greatest challenge.
Well, you have just led me to my next question, which is, in the age of social media and shrinking print circulation, how has the Western Europe managed to stay trusted and independent?
Well, I'm going to say something, and I am not saying it to show off. My workers, some of my fellow workers, I call them fellow workers, come here workers, and my director, she will remember the others. One of the things about me, Janet, is that, and this is what I treasure most, I'm not a rich man, I'm just somebody who lives comfortably. But one of the things that or should I say, the thing that I've always treasured above everything else is my integrity. And I'm not showing off when I say that, because it has cost me to lose friends, lots of friends. It has cost the Mirror to lose advertisements because of certain stance that I would take editorial otherwise, right? But we have survived because there are persons in the community, especially not so much the Gen X and the Gen Z and the millennials, because we have to find a way now to rope them in. But the older set of people in the community, I met a man the other day who told me that he had the first copy of the Mirror under his mattress, and he treasured it. So in essence, that's the survival mode. But most importantly, Janet, we at the Mirror have a dedicated staff of workers. I have never seen it. We don't pay them the best salaries. But when you talk about dedication, that's them. And I want to big up and your workers here. Stand up for them. Mr. Grant,
you're part of the Western Mirror team.
Barrington Fleming,
please stand so we can see you.
Philip there. Children going who is a rogue. Who else is there?
Oh my God!
And Mr. Mays over there who handles our finances. Who's behind there?
Don't worry, we're going to take a photograph.
Suppose I tell you something, Janet.
Yes.
Practically, and I'm showing up again because Adrian said it already, but practically every journalist in this room, whether they are at any other news entity, they all started at the Mirror.
Except for me.
I am their grandfather.
Except for me.
Except for you. You were hard to tame. I couldn't help you.